ever get that feeling like you're on the wrong path in life? And I don't mean like took a wrong turn on the way to the store, but like a capital W wrong path, you know? The kind that makes you question everything.
Oh, absolutely. It can feel so weighty, like you've gone totally off course.
Exactly. And today, we're going to deep dive into that whole idea of right and wrong paths. Do those even really exist? Or are we just putting way too much pressure on ourselves?
Right, like maybe they're just constructs,
Eh.
things we've internalized but might actually need to, like, let go of completely.
Okay, so to unpack all of this, we're turning to the work of Pedro Elias, specifically an excerpt from his book, Spiritual Reflections for a New World.
Oh, interesting. Was the excerpt called?
It's titled, From the Multiple Right Paths to the Only True Path. And just to be clear, this isn't about some strict doctrine. It's more about finding spiritual freedom.
Oh, I like that. Freedom over dogma, for sure.
Mhm.
But it is interesting how often throughout history, this idea of a right path
Mhm.
has been used to control people,
Hmm.
right? Like it's some fixed external truth you have to follow, no questions asked.
It's true. Think about it. Religious dogma, societal expectations, even something like a traditional career path. It's like there's this predetermined mold we're supposed to fit into.
Totally. And it creates so much pressure to conform. I mean,
Mhm.
have you ever felt that, like, afraid to color outside the lines because you might end up on the wrong path?
Oh, all the time. It's almost like we're scared to even explore what feels right for us because we're so worried about veering off course.
Right. And Elias, he suggests that these predefined paths, the shoulds and the musts, they're often just mental constructs, actually obstacles to our freedom. He even uses this powerful phrase, psychic catacombs, to describe how these rigid ideas can trap us.
Psychic catacombs. Wow, that's a heavy image.
Right. It makes you think, what kind of catacombs have we built around ourselves
Yeah.
by clinging so tightly to this idea of one right path?
It makes you wonder if we're letting the fear of the wrong path keep us from finding our own way. Because that fear, it can be so ingrained, so subtle, we might not even realize it's holding us back.
And that's where Elias's central question comes in, and it's a good one. He introduces it by talking about a woman who, like many of us, is worried she's on the wrong path. And he asks her, is it even possible to be on the wrong path if you're not seeking a prescribed right one?
Okay, so let's unpack that. He's not saying there's no such thing as making mistakes or that our choices don't have consequences, right? What he's getting at is something deeper.
Definitely. It's like he's challenging the whole idea that we need a predefined right path in the first place.
It's like he's saying, what if we just threw out the map altogether?
Exactly. Like, what if we, stopped looking for someone else to tell us where to go?
So instead of these external right paths, what should we be focusing on?
Well, Elias talks about the idea of a true path, but
But it's not like some literal path.
right. It's not about following some specific route that's already laid out for you or like a set of rules. It's more about, how should I put it? It's more about a way of being.
Okay, I like that, a way of being. But what does that actually look like? How do you be on the true path?
He describes it as like experiencing life fully with an open heart.
Yeah.
It's about approaching things with curiosity, with openness, and really listening to your own intuition, that inner compass, even when it leads you off the beaten path.
Have you ever felt that pull, like towards something that maybe didn't fit the conventional idea of success or the right timeline?
Also, yeah.
That, my friend, that might be your inner compass guiding you toward your own true path. And this is what always gets me. If there's no right path, does that mean any path is okay? Like, does it just lead to chaos? Or does it actually give us more freedom to make, more authentic choices?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's definitely something to think about.
Because on one hand, total freedom sounds
Yeah.
amazing, right?
Right.
But on the other hand,
It can be a little scary.
it can be a little unmooring. Like, are we just adrift?
Totally. And Elias doesn't pretend it's easy. He actually talks about how this kind of freedom, the freedom to create your own path, it takes courage. Like, we have to be willing to trust ourselves even when we're not totally sure where we're going, even when it feels uncomfortable, which, by the way, reminds me of the woman in that anecdote Elias shares, the one who was told she was on the wrong path.
Oh, right. Yeah.
When she hears Elias's question, the one we were just talking about, about whether you can even be on the wrong path, she has this really interesting reaction.
What was it?
Elias describes it as a gleam in her eyes and a smile which came from the depths of her soul.
Wow. You can almost feel the relief in that, right?
Right. It's like that weight of expectation, the fear of getting it wrong, just lifts. And in that moment, she's free to discover what her own true path might look like.
It's like she can finally breathe again.
Exactly. It's not about perfection or knowing all the answers.
It's about the journey, right?
Exactly. It's about seeing life as this journey of discovery with all the ups and downs that come with it.
And if we can accept that there are no wrong turns, maybe, just maybe, the whole journey becomes a little less scary, a little
Yeah.
more fun.
Absolutely. And you know what? Letting go of this rigid right and wrong thing,
Hmm.
it doesn't just change how we see ourselves.
It changes how we see other people, too, right?
Exactly. Because if everyone's on their own path,
Who are we to judge?
exactly. And Elias, he takes it even further.
Oh, how so?
He suggests that living this way, like really embracing all of life's experiences, the good and the bad and the messy,
Yeah.
he says it actually leads us to this incredible destination.
Okay, you gotta tell me, what is it? What's this amazing destination we end up at?
Love.
Ah, of course. It all comes back to love, doesn't it?
It really does. Because when you let go of that judgment, that need to fit everyone into neat little boxes.
You make space for real connection, right?
Exactly. For empathy, for understanding, for love.
Love for yourself, love for others, love for the journey itself.
That's it.
And this is just one reflection from Elias's book, right?
Yeah, it's just a taste of what he explores in Spiritual Reflections for a New World.
And over 1,800 people have already connected with this reflection online. So clearly, there's something here that a lot of us are resonating with right now, this idea that maybe, just maybe, we can throw out the map and create our own paths.
And find our own way.
Exactly. And if there's one thing you take away from today's deep dive, I hope it's this. You don't need anyone's permission to create your own true path. Trust your gut, embrace the unknown, and enjoy the ride.
Beautifully said.